Chronicle of the Crowns, session 13. Now, we we've been a little bit under the weather here, and we are still not at our full capacity. So it'll be a bit of a shorter one, I think, and because we need the rest, and we'll see where we get up to. So last time we had prepped a visit to the opera being put on by the sort of multi-instrumentalist musical composer of some repute from the Elven lands to the west, Delion, the half-elf. And so this show is being put on this eve, on the eve of the Hunter's Moon. And it is a sort of opera / musical theater piece about the poster says it's about the mysteries of the winter nights. And Terrell has procured appropriate attire for such an event for our trio. It's not finery, it is not silver thread, but it's fine. However, we have also had some troubling conversations with our contacts here in Riathil, the city of bridges. We had some disturbing news from the west, as it appears. Something of a shock news from the Elven lands that the Gilarain, the High King of the Elves, the Star of Hope, has declared that the time of the Elves is over, and they will depart to the west. And our contacts in Riathil had received word that a number of the sort of already well prepared for such a venture coastal princedoms had already departed. Now they have shipbuilders here still because they need more ships to take everyone over. But several large princedoms from the coast have departed already, according to the information that we found last time. So I think, given that we're working with rather limited time here tonight, I think we'll jump straight in. Unless there's anything else you guys want to prep, we can jump straight into the sort of concert hall.
I'm ready.
Right. So it'll be a bit of a different one. I didn't really write a play or an opera as such, but I do have a bunch of notes here. And so I have a bunch of stuff to get through. However, it's not meant to be just a soliloquy of mine. So we can just talk, interrupt at any time, do whatever you like. So as established before, it is a very large sort of auditorium, kind of like a Greek amphitheater crossed with like a 19th century theater. And it is made mostly from stone. It was used for some other purpose in the time that it was constructed. It is ancient of manufacture. And the information that we got last time was sort of indicating that it was perhaps constructed as a place to view the sky, maybe, because the roof is constructed from glass plates, and there is some kind of mechanism by which it can also be opened up to the sky. Yes, John.
Okay, so I'm sure you realised I was going to ask this as soon as you said it's made of stone.
Yeah, it's made from stone. I was like, oh.
The tickets that Tyrell has procured for us, are they like, like if you get like a modern cinema ticket, it's like you are sitting in this seat, or is it a case of like you've got a ticket in, you sit wherever?
I think it's a case of you gain entrance and then you figure it yourself out.
Because what I'd like to try and do, if at all possible, I would like, as we enter, there's crowds going on or whatever, I'd like to find a moment to like try and use my Reason of Old Stone. And the reason I want to use it is because I want to try and like find us seats in the area that most sort of like amplifies our like voices, if you know what I mean, like where the echoes would be like most. So like when we all sort of like cheer and like shout along with the action, which is what we do in like dwarven sing songs, which I'm sure it'll be the same in like
Exactly the same.
Yeah. So I want to make sure we're in the best place, like our voices will like ring out when we're like shouting out, and we're like we're hurrahing the heroes and we're like booing the villains.
I think it's the you can quite well determine the acoustics of the place. I think
I'm also trying to get the last routine success for Reason of Old Stone I need.
Yeah. So let's see. I neglected to do the one thing that I said I was going to do, which is get my books. So I will just step on over here.
While Shannon
it's a good thing because I'm going to do that too.
I imagine, Matthew, that like we're going to like the opera and it's like a human opera. I imagine like dwarven performances and a bit more like panto. Where like the audience is like shouting like, "Oh, he's behind you" and like stuff like that. There's like more audience participation.
I imagine there's a lot of like in jokes as well, like throughout the it's in the history of the dwarfs.
Yeah, I imagine like dwarven stuff is more like audience participation.
I would agree.
All right, Reason of Old Stone.
We say the elves have
Page
secret, but the art
290.
theatre.
Page 290. Bastard.
Busted.
Okay, so. So I think we. Of the skill as written in the book, but it is a sensible one, I think. It's not a great challenge, I don't think, because this is a structure explicitly built for this purpose. What you're doing is you're basically trying to see, okay, I know what this building does. Where does it do the best?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and that's not a great problem for you, I don't think. So, or anyone with this magical stone talking skill. Let's see. I think. Here we go. Right, so I think it's gonna be because obstacle 1 is like, what kind of stone is this?
Yeah, and it's like just
so I think
the
by
generic age
default
of the stone as well.
Yeah, I think at minimum we're at obstacle 2 for this.
Okay, cool. I've put a persona point into it. Look at that.
Oh shit!
That's right.
2 6s as well.
I'm not going to re-roll them. So. However, that means I've now got all the dots.
Yeah.
On
So
my
let me
tracker.
open up your sheet here. See what we have.
Oh, I need to put that. I've spent an extra persona point in it. There we go. Man, I've dropped some persona into this skill.
Yeah. So, yep. You clear all the dots and you increase your Reason of Old Stone by 1.
Yeah, boy.
As you learn of the acoustics of this ancient place.
I presume I also clear the things where it says how much Arthur you've put into it.
No, that stays.
That stays.
So
right, okay, cool.
all the challenging, difficult, routine dots, those go away.
Okay, cool.
But the Arthur stays.
Okay, lovely. That's that sorted.
Yep. So you found a great place. You've determined that it's built in such a way that it is obviously going to be the best when you're in the place where the performance or speaking happens down there. But you've got the second place in the sort of seat area.
Yeah, so I'll basically just be like guiding the others over, like, oh, I found this amazing spot. Oh, look, we're seeing and hear everything amazingly from here. Look at that, the stone follows the sound. And
So-
I'll probably be getting far more excited about the opera now. I know it's in an old ass stone building than I was originally.
So as we enter, what I'd like to do is sort of linger near the entrance of the building and begin to sing a little song to myself. And I like to employ, I believe it's called Air of the Gates or Air on the Gates. Something
Air over the gates. Yep.
Because I believe that allows me to get information about what's inside the building, etc., depending on the.
Yeah. Let me get
obstacle,
that.
But I don't have my reference. I don't have
Yeah.
books to reference. So
I'll get that.
if you don't mind, Master, thank you.
Yeah. So it is a spell song. Air of the
Indeed.
Gates. Air of Gates, sorry. So this is a special song an elf can sing to a door or a gate. The singer may ask the gate in his presence what lies beyond and be answered. So obstacle 1 is fence gates. Obstacle 2 is cabin doors. 3 is house doors. And then doors of a great hall is 4, which is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll okay, so you've got 3 in Air of Gates, and you're looking at a 4 obstacle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily expect to succeed, but let's give it a roll. Let's see what we can determine. Besides, if I fail, it's like a challenging or super difficult, whatever.
It is challenging, yeah. So
yeah,
you're asking the sort of stargazing amphitheater what lies beyond.
Yes.
Let's see. Here goes obstacle 4. That's a 0 successes.
Lovely.
Incredible. You rolled 3, 2, and 1.
Jeez. Never let you roll for me again, sir.
it's open-ended as well, so any 6s would have exploded by default. But
yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. So
I learned.
You get this feeling that something like the beyond is obfuscated by some far greater power than the Air of Gates. So you do understand that. You don't. Basically, what happens is you sing, but there's a greater silence inside.
Well, that's not worrying at all.
It's rather ominous.
So I imagine while this is going on, I'm going to be like,
ominous.
I'm like, come on, Cameron, sit down. I found us a good place.
I will join them shortly after.
Yep. So
I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Can I summon God?
Oh, I already know the answer to that. Don't you worry.
I've done it, and he's not.
Is there a lot of like churchy people here, like a lot of obvious in robes and things?
Yeah, but it doesn't look like a covenant event as such. Yeah. But there's a couple with obvious cassocks on. But it looks very much like it's a weird combination of people now, because there's a vacuum of quote unquote traditional nobility in Riathil currently. So there's sort of like nouveau riche that have just recently been told like, oh, we need you to tend to this, you own it now, and they're like, oh great, I'm rich now. And there's some of the some church people, but then there's just craftsmen, well-to-do traders, there's mercantile, artisan, and then some rather people of meager means as well. So it's a large cross section of just different social strata currently here, but it doesn't look like the covenant has been told you need to be here. It doesn't look that at all. It
doesn't appear to be like a force of men or anything here. Which
no. It looks for all the world as I lose my voice. It looks like it's just a rather more broad audience than usually would be for such a highfalutin event.
And just to remind everyone, if this all goes a little bit wrong, we do have our store waiting nearby in the cart. I'm not saying it will,
Yeah.
just in case. No.
Yep. Yeah. Ostor is all ready to go. He's got his full-on winter gear on because he's going to be waiting at the cart all night.
all I'm saying is, if we do happen to have to flee from a burning opera house with like flame-robed zealots pursuing us, we've got options. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying we've got options.
I like where I
Do I detect a very small amount of glee in your voice, Clavier?
Oh, really, Cameron? Really?
I guess you can't take the battles out of the old campaign after all.
Well, no. All I'm saying is these, in my experience, and I appreciate we're not doing battlefield negotiations here. All I'm saying is that whenever negotiations of that sort of come up in my history as a campaigner, that sometimes things break down and you have to use an appropriate phrase, exit stage left. And all I'm saying is if we have to do that, we are prepared. Hopefully we won't have to, but if we do, we're prepared and we can get ourselves out of Riathil as quickly as possible. Obviously, John Drull has been forewarned what should happen, what he should say if we do need to leave. So no trouble will come to his door, or as little as we can expect. But given the potentially dangerous situation we're going into, given your other half's influence here, I think it would be irresponsible of us not to at least half expect something untoward to happen, given what we're planning to do.
It could get
hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's my motto, Cameron.
Well, let's be about it.
So as you get your seating, there's people moving about with several satchels on their belts, maybe a small backpack, and a tray on a sling. And they seem to be serving some kind of hot drink.
Oh, hello. I say this opera thing's looking up to Rao.
Indeed.
So there's folks going about. They have roasted various kinds of nut, and also the drink that they are serving is more or less the local version of a mulled winter wine.
Yeah,
with heavy spicing. So there's like one of these sort of servers comes over and says, oh, okay, and then you do a bit of, because it's for cost. So like it's not the kind of cost where you need to roll your resources though, but like you hand over the couple of coppers or whatever, and you get your like steaming.
There you go. There's one for you, Tyrell, and one for you, Cameron, and of course one for me. And I'll pour it into my knob. Yeah, this should help lubricate the events nicely.
Yeah, and they have like these like roasted, salted, different kinds of nut available as well. And you're told that if you want refreshments, they can be found. Just walk out the door and you can find them in the lobby.
Well, I'll say one thing, Tyrell. I know I was a bit sceptical about this whole opera affair, but they certainly know how to treat people here. I'll say that for them.
Yes. For humans, they're doing quite well.
So far, so good.
This mulled drink they're serving
I sense
isn't half bad.
Dillion's touch in the refreshments. Shall I say?
Sorry, what did you say, Turin?
Oh, I said I sense Delion's hand in the refreshments.
Well, I hope you wash them first.
It's a turn of phrase, Glavia.
So, as as the size of exasperation take advantage of the acoustic location we have. The stage is there. The big drape, the curtain, as it is also called, is shut. However, as the proceedings start, the big doors to the big open theater space are closed, and the show begins. Several sort of lanterns have been shot to provide the appropriate atmosphere and highlight the actual lighting that is going to be on the stage itself. So the sort of crowd portion of it is rather, shall we say, enshadowed, because the lighting arrangements are focused on the stage here. And above, as advertised, you can see large glass panes framed by metal, and you can see the mechanism by which they apparently can move and be opened as well. And you can see the night sky up above, which has the much advertised Hunter's Moon, which is a full moon glowing a sort of golden red, very, very bright, in the very noticeable and distinct. This is the kind of thing that songs are written about. So it is up and prominent in easy view of the see-through ceiling of this place. As a side note, I will highlight that last time we determined that this is quote unquote the elf moon, as there are 3 moons, and traditionally the peoples of the land have sort of held one of them to be their own. So this is the one that the elves sort of hold dearest, I suppose. Now, the Hunter's Moon glowing up above, the curtain parts, and we move on to the opening. As it is.
Riathil, when do they give out sheets with the words on it?
Oh, you mean? Oh, yes. That is strange that they haven't passed out though.
I mean, how are we supposed to join in with the singing if we?
Well, it's not the. No. It would be the. No, it's not that. Never mind.
Oh, seems a rum thing to me, but wow.
Oh, if you wanted to have like a flyer with the sort of breakdown of what's going to go on, you can obtain those here as well in the sort of prelude. So it's going to be a saga, a mystery rather, in 3 acts with an opening.
I will point out that if it's a mystery, obviously I won't keep busting in, but all the way through it, Glaver will be like nudging Cameron and like Tyrell being like, I think he did it. And like, and he's like, he's probably like rubbish at working it out, but he'll be trying to like work it out, and he'll be like, I think he's the villain, and all of that sort of shiz all the way through. But obviously I won't keep busting in, but just assume I'm sort of doing that sort of thing all the way through.
In between looking out for the bishop and trying to spy this diadem, I will be putting my hands in my face and shaking my head at every outburst from our dwarven compatriot as he ruins this performance for me.
So you can see from this, like it's not a very detailed sort of brochure or flyer or like a poster, but it has like the parts of it. So there's the opening, then Act 1, Path of the Dead is called, you can see. Act 2, Dance of the Spheres, and then Act 3, A Fire in the Darkness. And it has motifs of like the winter night mystery. So there's like there's a conifer, there's like a hare, and all that.
That last act sounds a little bit ominous, if you ask me, Cameron. The Fire in the Darkness. You know what I'm saying?
I would agree. That is an ominous tone. Perhaps it is a message for us. Or maybe it's just coincidence.
I think it's more. I mean, well, there's no coincidence. There's only fate. But I doubt it's a. If your sibling, for want of a better term, has gone to wants to send us a message, it seems like he's gone to an awful lot of trouble if he's arranged an opera specifically in the hope that we'll get a pamphlet that'll have a cryptic title in it. Well, I suppose it is a mystery.
It's not out of the realms of possibility. I've got, in one hand, I've got my drink. I'm just kind of sipping it nervously, looking around. But I'm also, on the other hand, I'm sort of petting my familiar who I've tried to secure out of the way. Because obviously I'm inconspicuous, even at the best of times. Even though I'm kind of, I think I'm in disguise a little bit. If I recall from the previous session,
Yeah, your disguise being a scar.
Don't look so worried, Cameron. Try and relax and at least enjoy it. You know what you need, don't you, to help you through this?
And that seems to be your answer to all your problems, Clavia. I appreciate that. Is very in line with.
Hey, don't blame me that many problems in life have a similar solution.
I respectfully decline your very generous offer at this stage.
Well, if you should change your mind.
After tonight, I may need to.
So, it begins with the overture, the opening of the mystery. So, the stage, as I try and paint a picture of a damn musical theater, somehow we ended up here, guys. The stage is depicting it's nighttime in the scenery. It's a moody scene full of potential and curious detail. There's a star twinkling here and there. There's trees that move slightly of their own accord. There's tracks in quote unquote snow that lead into the distance. There is a curious set piece, a large propped up mosaic built into stone that depicts a dark clad elven figure kneeling in snow in defeat. So it's sort of like downcast.
Didn't think
figure.
elves could be defeated, but okay.
So it seems somewhat incongruous, but not entirely. But it's just it stands out quite a bit. The mosaic has this like cold landscape of its own in behind the elven figure, and behind the elven figure is a stark red moon, which is mirrored by what seem to be actual glittering rubies, marking what seems to be blood in the hands of this figure. So basically, the mosaic otherwise is stone of a different kind, but the hands seem to be actual gemstones, sort of bright rubies, and the sort of this mosaic stone, sort of 2 meters in diameter, and there's details picked out in like inlaid silver as well. And yeah, so it's like propped up in one corner of the stage here. And you note to your a little bit of a surprise, perhaps the first mystery, as a part of the sort of nightscape here moves, because it is a very dark clad actor who detaches from the wall and sort of takes front position here on the stage. Currently, this character is alone on the stage, and the acoustics carry the voice of this actor slash performer. And you hear a voice that says the following. And as I said, like, please interrupt at any time, do whatever at any point in time. So there's yet to be music, by the way. This has all been silent so far, and is the speech of this figure, and it goes like this: "The season of frost has ever cast its shivering spell on all those who tread upon the face of this earth." The figure moves dramatically as it talks, just completely clad in black and deep blue. "We shun the darkness and are fascinated by it at the same time. The ancients built towers to ask questions of the stars on winter nights, and the woodland folk," he motions to the sort of trees that move on their own, "the woodland folk say that they are light of the stars of the night sky, given form by celestial music and song. The darkness hides not only our fears and failures, but mysteries also. Witness the lights from above and below that guide our way and guard against the dark and cold perils." And the figure sort of like recedes back into the scenery to the point where he goes beyond the sort of lighting, and so just like disappears into the scenery. And the music starts at this point, the opening portion. So it's an instrumental before the first act, and it starts as a sort of like light ethereal piece that dabbles with whimsy before ending on several foreboding notes. And that's the like, and then the curtain closes as that is the opening, and they set up the act one.
Can I attempt a obscure skill that I have?
Sure. Always.
I'm curious to see. So I'm trying to see Cameron's trying to unpack the meaning of the theater of the performance, and it may obviously it might not relate in any way to our many threads now going on with Tyrell, Glavry, and me. But I'm curious to see if this tale they're telling is representative of some kind of end of the world mythological kind of story or event that it predicts. If I could possibly use my apocalypse wise skill.
Sure, yeah. Go
Just
ahead.
to see if I can interpret if it's I know, John, I actually have somehow made it relevant.
That's going to be amazing if we're all sat there watching this one, like, oh, getting instrumental, and then like Cameron leans over and he's like, "This opera pretends the end of the world in 5 minutes.
It's the end of the days.
The dark times are upon us. The end is near."
This could give us vital information. You never know.
So
it's not a skill I've had a chance to use.
I imagine this evening's going to end with Tyrell being like, "This is the last time I'm taking you two to the opera."
I can never take you guys anywhere again.
The end is nigh.
So I tried taking you to a fancy party, and this is how they repay me.
Yeah, I take you to offer, and you start shouting about the apocalypse.
Yeah, the evening's going to finish, and Tyrell's going to be like, "Elf King, boats, you say?"
Do you have a spot?
Seriously.
You laugh, but like
I'm
you never know.
Okay, so there's a couple ways to use, and by couple I mean two, ways to use wises, which are information skills in Burning Wheel. So you can ask me a question,
right?
Or you can introduce information as a result of using your skill. So you could say, like, "Hey, what kind of sort of wine sharing ceremonies the nobles have in Riathil?" Like, you could ask me that. Or you could say, "I'm using my wise to establish that the nobles of Riathil share wine in this specific way. So what do you want to do?"
Oh man, dude. Okay.
So basically, if he succeeds, he could be like, "Let me tell you how this relates to the apocalypse."
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, well, I'm going to go for option B. I'm going to introduce potentially the particular configuration of the rubies you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So there's you're referring to the mosaic piece, which has this like downcast, defeated elf with the bright red moon behind the elf, and the hands seem to be bloody, and the blood is rubies, whereas the other stone is not precious gemstones.
I'm going to introduce that. That this is the gemstones, the rubies on the mosaic, in correlation to the moon, corresponds to an actual constellation, which obviously would be astrology. But I'm going apocalypse-wise for the meaning. I'm staying on point, and its relevance is essentially like the end of elven kind, which kind of relates to the elves leaving the world, and it sort of ties into the fact that the elves leaving the world is sort of a step to this apocalyptic event that we are, heading towards. But I could be talking up my ass because let's see.
Let's see. So
okay, so what do I need for this, Hoss? What's the difficulty? Unless you're going to give me a 0 and be like, I want that to happen. Give me them sweet skills.
So
I can't fork anything in.
Give me your sort of interest on like how much are you invested in this? Like how much is Cameron, about this shit? Like is Cameron on board with this?
I am concerned because if this is like a true thing, and if say for example that my doppelganger is involved somehow, and he's either embellishing this or kind of referencing this kind of implies that this is part of a plan that possibly the church does have, and the elves being, removed from the chessboard is part of their overall scheme to make the land their own, I guess. I'd say he's pretty invested. It's not his top of his priority, because obviously the crown is the focal point.
So, as far as you having this, because what we're talking about here is not that you are establishing necessarily in a vacuum true facts. What you are establishing is that you have correct information.
Yeah.
So this would then be, if we say that this is true and you succeed, that would then mean that you figured this out somewhere, like you've referenced something that gave you this information, like you didn't make this up.
No, I knew this. I know loads of things.
So you figured this out from somewhere, if this is true.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a 1.
Ooh, okay. I don't get any forks for this, but let's do it.
Do you have any other, wises you could fork into it? Elf wise, blood and fire wise.
I have a bunch, but they're not actually like completed. So
they're grim sort of like death wise.
I've got restless dead wise.
Nah.
Nah. Okay, let's do this. Come on.
Oh, come on. 3 and a 2.
What? Oh, man.
It's a negatory. Well, this is what you think.
I believe this to be true.
You have come across this information, but we know as players that it is not 100% correct.
No, it could
thing. But you have the reference material. Like you could go and try and find the thing that you read that led you to believe this. But we know that it has, like, someone hasn't, dotted all the T's and crossed all the I's.
Yeah, I'll tell my companions this as well. While as the kind of curtains close at the end of the first act, and obviously Tyrell's welcome to roll his eyes at me or be like, humans and their silly and their silly learned words. But that's what I believe. Yeah, this is very on point with what we've heard about the elves, and that moon is particularly ominous, I dare say. I only know true facts, though. True facts. It's 100% verified.
I saw it on the internet.
Sorry, on the internet.
On the interscroll.
I whisper, because I'm attempting to, of course, be polite to the other patrons, but I will whisper back to Cameron. It seems that Delion is being a bit on the nose this evening. It's very gauche, but perhaps he didn't want to go too far over your heads. when I say yours, I mean the humans, of course.
Well, you've got to play to the crowd.
I wouldn't take you for making a dwarven joke. Going over the head. No, okay, never mind. Okay.
Okay, so there's the squeaking of the curtain opening again as the squabbling
hurts my
commences.
soul.
So, Act 1, Path of the Dead. So the stage is a primordial world of dark forests and frigid winters. It's a very sort of harsh landscape that they are evoking. There are multiple performers, singers. Some of them are not in singing roles, but there are performers on the stage in numbers this time. And some of them are dressed up as elves, clearly, and some of them are humans. Now, this, true to the scenery itself, these people also are, if you would, from the primordial world. So there are no glittering silver pieces adorning the elves as you would have in later times. It is a very sort of natural existence, seems like, for both the elves and the humans and the world itself. And there are many sort of scenes with singing roles for a lot of people, but they are very short roles. These scenes depict wars, skirmishes against each other between the elves and the humans in the shadows beneath the tall trees. And each side sings of their hopes and their fears. And eventually a grand battle occurs. And in the aftermath, they reach an accord. And the swords are ritually broken to signal peace. So there's a lot of like prop sword breakage that goes on. The elves and humans then live side by side and build bonfires in the dark forests against the darkness. And around these primordial bonfires, they tell stories of, it turns into a rather more contemplative, sort of somber scene at that point, where like individuals sort of sit or stand by a bonfire and describe individual fates of the world as has happened so far. And there are baleful ghost lights that sort of light up from the dark scenery one by one as tragedies are described. And there are songs of suffering sung. And Cameron, you note, because you know sort of what to look for quite quickly, one of the ghost lights has eyes that reflect light, much as your own do, and those of you are familiar. And when your eyes cross with the eyes of this ghost light actor, you hear a voice again. So, hello, Cameron. I'm pleased that you could make it. I hope that you will enjoy the performance. And you can see the ghost light actor with the reflective eyes, wink at you with one eye. You're muted, Matthew.
Gosh, yeah, sorry. I shift uncomfortably. And I can't, and I sort of think, I'm guessing think back towards them. Mm-hmm. Can't wait for the encore.
So there is no reply. Make of that what you will.
Yeah.
So there's the dancing of the ghost lights as elves and humans sing of the tragedies and the regrets, because they have had an uneasy existence in the darkness of the forests, but now they are living together, trying to at least, and they sing of the hardships of that.
I'm going to lean into Tyrell and be like, "Are these all dark elves, or is this just like a dramatic interpretation of your turmoil?"
What you see on Terrell's face is a mixture of disgust and horror as he turns and says to you, it wasn't like this at all. What is this tripe? This is a mockery of our history and
I
our
think they call it
struggles.
artistic license, Terrell. I shouldn't worry about it.
Delion is a master of the craft. This is was written by a dwarf child. Sorry, no offense, Flavia.
None taken. I was rather enjoying it, to be honest.
Very dramatic.
Yes, of course you would. I can't watch this anymore. Terrell rises and he's gonna like leave. They go out to like the hallway. I imagine.
Yep.
Like the entrance way and the.
Can you get me some of those nuts on your way back, Terrell?
I think I just drew with my hands that. Well, if Glarvier spoke Elven battle language, he would know that it meant something unkind.
These nuts.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we should be separated, but
well, do you depart?
no, I'm staying till the end. I have committed now. I am here.
I'm committed to the opera.
I'm committed to the opera.
Now, during my inspection of the surroundings while I was inside, did I happen to see any box seating or perhaps private seating or perhaps someone who was obviously the bishop wearing a diadem, let's just say? Cutting to the chase?
I would say, yeah. You saw like an upper balcony type deal with. You think it was the bishop, and you did spot. You think you spotted. It's a bit of a crowded space as was, but you think you saw the bishop in this particular balcony area.
Right. So what I would like to do is, based on my limited knowledge and information pertaining to the building, I just need to get a little closer and get a good look at this thing, get a good sense of it. So I would like to do the stealthy, sneaky ranger thing. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to whistle up a tune and use my chime of the chameleon or trine of the chameleon, or whatever it's called.
So let me find that.
I want a chameleon up.
Yep.
And since I think I need some challengings on that one, I think I want to go with a harder difficulty. So I think it's one additional die for each one that I go up to. So my stealth. So what I will do is I'm gonna hit it at a 3. Let's just see what we do.
Yeah, so you are at 3, and if you do it at 3, you're gonna get a difficult, and then if you get that, you only need one more difficult to go up.
Yep. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yep. So we're gonna go with that. Yep.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
We're gonna 3 of the chameleon in the hallway.
I think this is my favorite one, by the way, other than my sword one.
Yeah, it is really, really, really cool.
So good. It's so powerful.
Let's see. That's a 0 again. 2,
Are you
2,
fucking
1.
kidding me? Johannes,
2, 2, 1.
You killed me tonight, bro. Oh man. All right.
So I think
I'm pissed. I'm too angry. I'm clouded by the mockery of a performance I was just witnessing. I can't get the tune right. All right. So I'll just have to do the stealthy, sneaky thing on my own then. Fine. And I storm off towards where I think it is.
I like that it's literally like I'm gonna do it right, and then you start doing the Elven spell song, and you can't get it right because of how badly you.
So it just messed my mojo.
And you're like, fine then. and to like
Fine.
storm off.
I'll storm off sneakily. Damn it.
Right. So, you creep about the hallways. You go up in the structure, head towards the balcony. You can see there's a couple, probably archpriests, some kind of higher church officials, judging by how much gold thread they have there on their clothes. It's a very small sort of private seating area, and so there's two of these archpriests, you think, there, and the third seating place is it has the robes of a bishop, propped up by what is, for all the world, like a broom handle with a cross piece nailed on it, and it has on the top of this like cross piece, which sort of hangs the shoulders of the robe as well. It has a very delicate elven circlet just hanging on the wood. And these two archpriests are sitting on either side of this. Very, very poor attempt at making it look like there's a third person there in the central seat.
I don't know whether to laugh or roll my eyes, but so from my position though, can I get a good look at the diadem? Could I reach out with my perception and sense if it is indeed imbued with our power, or if it's simply just a beautiful decorative piece?
Let's see. This isn't really a thing that we have a ready-made thing for, however.
Yes, I unfortunately, I think if anything, it would possibly fall under the antiphone stuff, maybe, perhaps, or one of those abilities. But it's a gray area, so I leave it to you.
I would say something like ready-made things would probably be, I forget what the name was, but basically like the elven version of a silversmith. Like that would be
Elf-wise, maybe, perhaps, as well, which I do have.
Yeah. So let's see. So you have Elfwise. Yeah, let's go with Elfwise. That's the most
generic way of going with it.
So we're gonna roll Elfwise, and I'm gonna put it at. So this is going to be your best estimation of is this imbued with the power of your people?
That's all I'm trying to get. I don't even care what it does. I just want to know if it is indeed an artifact of power or not.
I'll put it at 2. You have 4 dice. I'll put it at obstacle 2 to figure out.
Yeah, I'd use all the arthur you got at the moment. That those rolls.
I was gonna say, do I have? This is like really like half the mission I'm here for.
Yeah.
I have 3. What's it called? Do I have
3 persona? Yeah.
Can I drop a persona on that? I mean, I don't think 4 is going to be enough for 2. I think. I have a feeling the way you're rolling for me, Hannes. I think I need to.
Yeah, I apologize on Roll20's behalf because
seriously,
it's 2 zeros in a row.
Yeah, I know.
that's
worst night ever.
That's like Matthew rolling
ever. Toriel's not happy tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so I've added in 1 persona, obstacle 2. Here we go. Come on, Toriel. Come on, Roll20. Yeah, you got it. You got it with a 3 and 2 6s if you want to dash in a fate to go overboard with this.
Actually, I wouldn't mind it because that adds to your that builds it up for the grayscaling. So I wouldn't mind it.
Yep. So I'm adding these things on now. So we put in a fate and a persona, and then we're gonna re-roll those 2 6s.
And I want to fuck the success into the dirt.
Well, that's great because I rolled another 6. I rolled a. Okay, so Roll20 is paying you back now. So
I better know everything about this diadem now.
Yeah,
like that's all I'm saying.
3 successes originally, and then you got a 6 and a 2, and another 6 on the 6 that you re-rolled, and then a 3. So you got 5 altogether over 2.
Very nice.
It is a. You think you don't know what it does per se, but it has the sort of faint starlight shimmer that your
Yeah.
people do. So it is imbued with something that is quite similar in essence to so the powers of your people, the nature, the essence of your people. It does have the shimmer on it, and you think it is the real deal.
Okay. And he just left that here out in the open.
It's on a stick.
He's daring me to steal it at this point. Like, and you know what? I am having a really bad night. So you know what? If he wants me to try to steal it, if he's daring me to take it back for my people, you know what? Hell, my people are fucking off anyway. You know, I'm gonna need some artifacts to keep me company when I'm all the last elf in the whole land. So yeah, I'm gonna steal it, and I want to do it.
And this is not very difficult to reach out and just lift it off because
it's just fucking stick guy.
It's on the head of a stick. So this poor stick figure robe bishop, which you just lift it off, not a problem. However, as you lean in and lift it off, you get a glimpse further in of these archpriests, which haven't indicated that they are, clocking you, basically. As you lean in further, you get a better view. Both of them dead. They've got what seem to be dagger handles of elven manufacture sticking out of their sides on either side. And they're just like stuck in place, basically.
All right, so this is really starting to feel like a frame-up job.
So as you're looking at this, like, are they going to notice me? No, because they are both dead. Are those elven daggers in their stomachs? And there's an elven voice that reaches you as you ponder these dark developments and the blatant, weirdness of, I'm going to put this diadem on a stick. It's Delion's voice. You remember it from home. And he is singing in a very old dialect of your people. And he's very good. He's every bit as good as he was before. So the orchestra is backing him up. It's clearly his work, the music. So they're doing a great job. He's doing a great job as well. And he's singing a song which you haven't heard before. It seems from the language itself and maybe some of the word constructions and all the linguistic shit, which you're not really an expert in, but you know enough to tell that this is possibly an old song. It doesn't have a lot of the sort of new markers. So just again, feel free to interrupt me at any point in time, tell me what you want to do, but I'll get into the song bit here as well, because it's, things are proceeding. So Deleon is sort of taking center stage, and there's figures moving about the stage as he sings. They all seem to be somewhat armored figures, dark cloaks. The song goes, "Dark have been my dreams of late, of chilling doubt and fear. 1,000 years have passed away to lay down doom and terror." Of course, it's rather more elaborate in Elvish. And of course, no one here can understand it unless they speak Elvish. Yep.
Which I happen to do.
Yeah, which you do.
So, well, while Deleon is singing this very interesting song, I feel like I'm in the midst of a setup. So, or a setup aimed at blaming elves for murders of priests. Either way, not good. So I'm going to take the daggers, remove them from the bodies, clean them as thoroughly as I can. I'm going to hide them on my person.
Yep.
And then I'm going to take the diadem and also hide that on my person. Actually, I don't know what the diadem does, do I?
You think it probably has something to do with because of where it was produced from, you think, from what you know. That might not be true, but that's what you have to reference. Probably something to do with sort of intellectual pursuits. Either that or arts, but probably intellectual pursuits.
Would putting it on tell me how, like, you allow me to access its power to see what it does?
Yeah.
Then I will put the diadem on.
So as you put it on, the song continues. I'll let you know the deets in a minute. So the first stanza was that, and the second one, Delion continues. To north ride my kin, the few undaunted, on wolves with bloody fangs, across the storm and stone, gloaming sky, lay my fears to rest in the silver beyond. And you you figure out, oh, yep, the daggers, cleaning, wipe. Okay, third. To walk the path of the dead, an age in the shadow of the stars, I have claimed the mantle of dread, the clarion call of the horn scarred. And you're secreting the daggers away. Okay, diadem. Do I put it on? I'm going to put it on. And the last stanza, as it is, my kindred, my blood, it is a good day to kill. Painted red is the earth and sky. The hunt rides until all is still. And you put on the diadem as the curtain starts closing on Act 1, and you figure out, I get the deets. Here we go. So you feel the tangible essence of the wisdom of the stargazers from that site that you visited with the sort of excavation crew as you put the circlet on. What this does is, in game turns, it gives you +1 to 1 die to your will tests, and it increases your body of argument in a duel of wits by 1. So you're better in a like a focused argument.
All right. Well then, I can see why his doppel might have liked to have this on, given what he seems to be all about, but it does not belong to him, it belongs to us. So now I'm going to skedaddle.
Mm-hmm.
Stealthily, of course.
Wherefore dost thou skedaddle?
I kind of still want to talk to Delion while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't mind, and I have a hood on, obviously, probably as a part of my outfit, just because it's, the ears. So I think I'm going to try to see if I can't get backstage. The first act has ended, and we'll go have a little conversation.
So you start working that plan, and Cameron, and Glarver, what's going on in the audience? You just heard a song in Elvish. And it's a very good song. Music, brilliant. Singing, fantastic. Delion's a gifted singer. The curtain closes on Act 1.
I don't understand the words, but the meaning was impactful.
Yeah, I'm guessing from the lyrics, even though we don't understand the main character, it's quite a sort of sad, mournful sort of sound.
Yeah, it is. It is sort of like it feels mournful, and also like there's like a regret that like DeLeon gets across with like the facial expressions and all this.
So I think
It's a tragedy.
As the camera cuts back to us, I'm probably being like, no, Cameron. I just got a speck of dust in my eye. It's nothing.
Must have been some nog that splashed back on you, obviously.
Yeah, it's a bit of the foam. It happens occasionally.
You can see the audience largely spellbound. Now, that this sometimes happens with Terrell because this is elves
Yeah,
singing.
This is a proper singer, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, he's been gone for 5 minutes, Cameron.
Yeah, it's the audience is feeling the thing that that happens sometimes when the elves invoke their inherent song.
That's going to put Glavir a little bit on alert, because like we know that people tend to get a bit spaced out when like elves start doing the thing, and I'm like, oh, if Bishop Evil Redwin like wanted to make his move without like alarming the citizenry, doing it while they're spellbound. I mean, we don't know. He might have some magic, or his nature might make him proof against it, or he could just be strong.
This isn't relaxing me, Glavia. This is not.
No. What I'm saying is we should keep an eye on it, because if I was your evil doppelganger now, and I wanted to deal with you now without people knowing, while everyone is spellbound and unaware of the periphery, as we say in the military, this would be an ideal time to do it. And I sort of like put my hand down to like where my axe is, just like keeping my hand resting on it in case I need to defend my friend. And I'll be like, just be on the lookout and just be wary. And I'm going to be sort of like scanning around, like basically looking for anyone like either coming towards us or anyone who doesn't appear to be spellbound. But you know, if we see like we see some like cloaked priests like creeping towards us in the darkness with knives, I want to be ready for them.
Yeah. You don't spot any such individual as yet, but will remain vigilant, no doubt, going forward. So, as you're discussing, as the curtain is closed with Glarver, Cameron, you hear the voice again, and says, "Now, I don't know how well you know your history, but every little piece of this has been arranged with precision. I saw that your other friend left. Perhaps certain aspects of this arrangement have offended his artistic sensibilities. That is fine. That is what happens with art. I have put this together with specific purpose in mind, as you no doubt have surmised so far. You were gifted enough. You will have figured some of this out already.
I understood that you wanted me to see this. But for the purpose, I'm not sure. But I can see there's much craft that's gone into this performance.
I have brought the Elven Mastermind that seemingly doesn't comment on your quote-unquote reply at all. I have brought the Elven composer here, as he is very gifted in some of the more archaic forms of their own language. The pronunciation is quite accurate to the way it was in the elder days. The song that we have just heard is one that hasn't been heard in a very long time. And I am glad to see that the audience is so very, very taken with it. I don't think you have had enough time to master the language. So I will, and it's just a monologue towards
he's enjoying
you. Like,
himself.
Yeah. There's no discussion there that this voice is trying to have. I don't think you have had enough time since you departed to learn the the language. So suffice it to say that this is, or as was in the ancient days, known as the Drauglir, the wolf song. And you might look into it afterwards. A very interesting discovery, no doubt, for us all here tonight. I'm glad that I could bring Delion here to perform this to you. And as you get your word in edgewise.
I just say out loud the wolf song. Like I just like, I'm curious. I'm guessing I'm hearing my own voice.
It sounds remarkably like you think you sound.
Yeah.
So the first notes have now been laid. They will hang in the air. For the voice of hatred is not very easily defied. The next couple of acts will bring us along this path. There will be I think you will really enjoy the ending. I brought you here because I wanted you to I suppose there's a feeling of wanting to reward you. But I suppose ultimately it is selfishness on my part. I get that way with my descendants sometimes. My own blood calls to me quite strongly, as it should be, family before everything else, right? If we don't stick together, who will help us when we find ourselves alone in the dark?
Who the hell are you?
Whatever happens, again, just doesn't.
Yeah.
Either it's not paying you attention or it doesn't go that way. Whatever happens, know that I'm very grateful and that you are gifted in ways that I am, in my own silly way, very proud of. Did I choose the best way to let you know? No. Such is the way of, I suppose, grandparents. It's hard sometimes. It's just like a flow of thoughts towards your way.
Cameron's processing it like 1,000 miles an hour.
I've left some surprises for everyone to find. It wouldn't be a party without surprises. Well, it's been a very long time. I have forgotten much. But I know enough to put this show on. So there's a little spark still in my step. And if everything goes well, perhaps we'll talk about the future and your place in it. I can't promise you won't get hurt along the way. However, parties, they can get rowdy sometimes. I hope it will be fun, though. I hope you will appreciate it.
Cameron's kind of scanning the room to see if the guy's there.
You can spot sort of in the corner of the curtain, you can spot the animal eyes that glow in the soft light.
Suppose when you said you would teach me my true origins, you weren't kidding.
Oh, no.
You told me of
Not
one.
like this. He's not invited back here. Troublesome.
You made me aware of one, grandparent.
This can be overcome, though. I'll talk to you soon, Cameron. And it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Because...
Interestingly, the only time he responded was when I inferred the king of the north. Interesting that roused him. Interesting.
So, Terrell, you're skulking about the back, as it were, and you fit well in because there's a lot of people draped in all black because that's how the sets are built. So you have no difficulty with just getting in.
Yeah, I almost look like I fit the part, right?
Yeah, you almost look like one of the performers here.
Gee, it's almost like I'm an elf or something. So yes, I would imagine that Dillion, although obviously not every opera house and stage house in history has had, say, a back room for the stars, but I imagine Dillion, being the guy, might have his own room that he's proposing.
Yep, we're all good to go with you standing next to Delion's door.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can open up the door, and I'm going to stride right in.
So Delion turns around from having a very tall glass of water and stops mid-sip, turns around, so yes?
I close the door behind me, and I will remove my hood.
It switches to Elvish. I don't understand. You are welcome. Would you have water?
Perhaps that would wash the foul taste of your performance out of my mouth. Yes.
You take issue with the song?
I take issue with the entire premise. I take issue that you, one of the great minds of our generation, is employing it for these fire scum.
Is there more? He asks sort of sincerely, not like are you done, bitch? Like is yeah.
Also, you were a bit pitchy. But I chalk that up to nerves. First opening night and all.
Right. Two things, brother. They do things very differently here, as you no doubt know.
Yes, I noticed.
There is a great amount of treasure. The fire scum have come into possession of, and have indeed promised it to certain causes that I have determined to be worthy. And well, in my defense, one, it is indeed the first night, and this song is very, very old.
I had noticed.
I don't quite have the proper pitch for the old forms, and they don't exactly have vocal coaches here for that. So that
You should have considered that before you left.
Wow. My defense, the second, I have had a consulting writer. The composition is mine, the music. You take issue, I suppose, with the subject of certain scenes.
I do. Your ghostwriter perhaps has an agenda.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt. I am fascinated by these people, the tangle of their short lives. As you might know, as you seem to have the advantage, brother of mine, I am indeed Delion, called half elf. And you would be?
Terrail. Prince.
Prince, no less. Well, Prince, I regret that I have not the water of our homelands to offer you, but I have this, if you would have it.
I'll take the glasses offered, of course. I don't want to be entirely rude. I have insulted his singing and composition after all. But I am a bit upset.
Yeah. He says, I am feeding my fascination here, and I will hopefully be feeding certain causes of worth, both home and abroad, with the treasure that they will give me for this. And that is all.
Dillian, I respect you, of course, and I respect your craftsmanship, but you have to know that you can cause a great deal of harm with your instrument. Our words, our voice is not for the faint of heart, and I fear your hidden patron's agenda is meant to arouse the short-lived ones to ill effect.
It would
And
not
I
be the first
cannot
time.
allow that to threaten what is going to be left of our people.
Well, you would be glad to know, then, that my part, as far as singing goes, is done. There is an oratory left for me in the acts, but the singing is complete. I apologize that we cannot all be devoted princes.
I understand your fascination with these people, and in simpler times, I would encourage it. But we are no longer living in simple times.
Are we not? Death is still death. They still all die very quickly as well. And in that brief flash is so much. That hasn't changed.
There are many things happening in the world as we speak. I cannot, of course, go into it all here, but suffice it to say, although the nature of their short-lived existences has not changed, the many threats to it have increased. And we may not be around much longer to save them all.
Oh. How so? He says, curious.
I don't believe this is the appropriate venue to discuss internal affairs. Suffice it to say that we need voices like yours at home, not out here with these people.
That sounds like we rolled the dice.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. So you have, as your most recently unlocked skills,
I do have persuasion now, yes.
the magical skill of trying to talk to people.
Yes, fuck me. I'm an elf lord who couldn't talk to people before. That was amazing in my build. Yeah, didn't think that one through. But anyway.
Right. So it's going to be rather hard, just by default, like just the fact that Deleon is an elf. So there's going to be a fairly high
I understand.
Bar to clear here. So it's not impossible. So you've got 3 persuasion. I'm going to put, like, Deleon's going to have at least 5 will to work with here.
Yeah, so I think that this is important for multiple reasons. So I want to slam down my persona, I think, on this.
And you can fork in elf wise because Deleon's an elf.
Yeah, it's true. So that's like 1 die for the 4.
That's 5 if you put in a persona.
I want to put in both. Can I put in both?
Yeah, you can put in both persona. Yep.
Yeah, let's get this to 6. I got to at least have a little bit of a margin here.
Yeah, and then you can, of course, try and re-roll the 6s down the line. So
yep, let's fucking do it. Let's go. Let's go to the mattresses on it. I want this to work.
Yep, you got a fork and you got 2 persona. Here we go. Deleon, will 5. Let's go. 3 with 1 6. If you roll double 6s, you can do it.
Yeah, I'll obviously suck down the fade on it.
Yep. I'll do that. Like that, and then this, and then this was challenging for you. Okay, so now can he do it? Can he roll a hard 6, as it's called?
Roll the hard 6. Yeah.
No, that's a hard half 6. So that unfortunately doesn't do it. So Deleon listens to your pitch and nods, and he says, I am glad that there would be a prince who would be overjoyed of my return, obviously. And I will. But not right now. But I will make a vow. I will visit. Which princedom was it again?
Riathil.
I will make your court the first place I visit.
Do not tarry long, brother. The hour grows late.
It does. Does not the moon cast a very particular light on this very late hour?
It does seem so.
I hope you at least enjoyed the drink.
I'll give him a slight nod of the head. I will put my hood back up, and I'll leave him to his repose.
Yep. All right. So as we sort of muddle about here, I'm conscious of the time. So we'll rush on into Act 2 here. We'll get back to what everyone's trying to do here in a minute. So Act 2, curtain opens, Dance of the Spheres. The stage, it is reset swiftly a couple times. So it alternates between the sky, a castle, and what seems to be some kind of great hall or maybe a forge like the dwarves have, but it's not clearly a dwarven manufacturer. But the scene as the curtain opens is the literal dance of the celestial spheres. There's the moons, there's the sun and the stars, and these are all actors dressed up as these celestial objects, and they dance quite skillfully, and they sing of joy, sorrow, and the prophecies of the coming ages. So this is for anyone who does have a smattering of history. They reference, things to come as if these songs were sung in the distant past. So this is the larger portion of this, and then there's a lot of also orchestral parts with no singing, just dancing. And once this latter sort of non-vocal part comes to a close, there is the closing scene, which again, the mosaic piece remains where it was to start with, and the closing scene has actors and performers dressed up as elves, humans, and dwarves. They're sort of worn down and battered, and they have songs to perform in scenes of battle. They are defending some kind of castle wall against a trio of dark cloaked figures with barely any distinguishing features. And then in the midst of this sort of desperate, down-beaten defense, there is a mystical fox character that sneaks into the war room where these sort of tired defenders make their plans. And the fox sort of just appears, frightens everyone, and the people present, these elves, human, and dwarves, sing of the fact that the fox has a feeling of darkness about it, and they determine to slay it as an agent of darkness. And the fox, in response, sings of how it is a great and powerful spirit of the air and is not willing to share the dark of the winter night with anyone. Never mind these dark cloaked figures. And the fox promises the people a victory against the darkness. And Cameron, as you are in the audience listening to this play, there's the voice again, says, so I hope you're paying attention. This is the true history. There's barely any mention of this, I think, unless someone hit it very well. There's been a rather determined effort to, well, I suppose, distort and revise these parts, but this is how it truly happened. And you can tell the gleaming eyes. It's one of the star actors who's just now in the background.
Yeah, just having a great grand old time.
Like other people are doing the sort of front and center. It's one of the background actors. I wanted to put it here, tell it plain, and have the satisfaction, Cameron, to know that even if I tell the truth, unvarnished, as I remember it, no one would even know. No one would be able to distinguish it from any of the lies that I have told. Isn't that delicious? But I tell you so that you can appreciate it with me. Take notes. The fox leads the people from the war room to a glorious shrine where together they sort of mislead and trick the stars to part with some of their power. And the fox instructs the people to weave the moonlight and the starlight into crowns of might, which they then put on. They have this sort of like, they're probably polished iron or steel, probably not silver or any like rare metal, but they have these crowns now. And as they have spun this celestial power into these crowns, the trio of dark cloaked figures are dispersed by the moons. So the moon actors like cast them away forcefully. And as the last one is departing the scene, it strikes out with a dark blade and it strikes the fox, and the fox falls down dead. And the voice says, obviously this part didn't take so well as they would have hoped. The closing part of this act is a sort of unison song, a long pledge of fealty to unite and stand as one, followed by several minutes of silence, just no music, no singing, as the celestial spheres move, indicating sort of passage of time. As the scene is frozen, but the celestial spheres move, and the act ends where the celestial spheres set back into their positions. The human with the starlight crown disappears, sort of falls in slow motion into darkness, and is enveloped by some kind of like dark fabric, like just like swallowed and disappears. And the act closes in complete darkness, aside from crowd noises, with no music, no singing, and there's just the elven figure, elven actor, quote unquote elven, they're all human, elven actor with the crown and the dwarven actor with the crown standing side by side alone, and the lighting is snuffed and the canvas closes. So that is Act 2.
Oh boy.
Tyrell, you have exited the back. Again, with little difficulty because you look like one of the actors.
Yeah, I think at this stage, there's only one more thing I think that could go really wrong here that I can check on, and that is the cart. I believe that Glarvier has secured, that he's left Oster to manage. And since I don't trust Oster very much, I would like to go to the cart.
Right. So yeah, you get to the cart. Oster is there. He immediately, as you get into sort of talking distance, he's like, "Are we leaving?"
Not yet. I believe the others are still enjoying the performance, but I have what I've come for. So I decided I would come out here and keep you company, maybe gaze upon the stars and contemplate a few things. And it's exactly what I want to do. I want to get to the cart. I want to look up into the sky, and I would like to employ my astrology song. I need to ruminate on the conversation, the diadem, what's happening back home, all this information. So I'd like to consult the blessed stars themselves to see what they might have to share with me. And since
Let's
I have
see.
no more persona left, it's gonna have to be a short trip. So
That's not the book at all. It's this
If you
one.
engage the stars in a duel of wits, though,
oh yeah, let him on top of it.
you
Mhm.
got it, man. You got it.
All right. So, oh yeah. Astrology.
It's in the skill section. It's the
Yeah,
Song of Eldar, I believe it's called, or something like that.
yeah. But the details are under the human skill.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. They double it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, here we
okay.
go. Astrology. Okay, cool. So, naming the stars and constellations, constructing a horoscope, determining the auspices of beginning an enterprise, calling upon the stars to answer a question. Is that what
Oh,
we're
well,
doing?
I think that's the one I need to shoot for, even though I might not get it, but
Yeah. So that's an obstacle 4. You have 4 dice in Song of the Eldar.
all right, let's do it.
Okay.
And the question that I want answered specifically is, should I return home or continue the quest?
All right. That is a good question. I will roll the Song of the Eldar.
I hope you roll well this time.
Yeah. 4. That's a 2 against 4 with no 6s, unfortunately.
Of course. All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
The
so
stars are not being forthcoming today.
yeah, I think so. What happens is the sort of golden red bright hunter's moon shines too bright, and it's difficult for you to see the stars properly. It's sort of overbearing to the point of being a little bit disturbing.
Well, then I will ponder my thoughts without the aid of the stars.
Yeah. Inside, shall we go into Act 3 and conclude our thing here? Cameron, what's up?
I've got a lot to process right now. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like having an evil granddaddy mentor. He is definitely like not on the level, but he's telling you the truth because he knows you can't do anything about it.
I love how the main bad guy's been like talking to you in your mind, and he's revealed some ancient ancestor, and you're like, I'm getting the feeling he might be a little bit sketchy.
I knew that before I came here. But I was kind of hoping that maybe it wasn't such a bad situation. It's worse. It's far worse.
So,
is there any of my ancestry that's not cursed?
You're the one that picked tainted lineage.
No, I know. I'm fully on board with this. Just makes me laugh. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. So, Act 3 opens, a fire in the darkness. The stage, there's again several that they set up in quick succession as the scenes change. There's dark, wild caverns and woods, and then human cities later on. So there's a progression of what seem to be like travel and sort of grand quest adventure type scenes where a lone woman is braving the darkness in the deep forests and hidden places of the earth. And she has occasional travel companions, and these companions sing of their hope for the people of the world as even the stars start to dim and only the foxfires light up the winter sky. The woman across these adventures applies ancient wisdom, secret elven knowledge, and mystical powers to defeat all kinds of horrors, bloodthirsty bandits, and also loses all of her companions on the way through secret passages in the darkness of the caverns. there's a somber scene of this woman alone, seemingly underground, discovering what is blatantly meant to be the first flame, and carries it out of the caverns as a sign, and presents it once out of the caverns as a sign of hope to the people of the world, as other lights indeed are starting to fade. And people gravitate to the first flame, and they sort of, the story is told of these becoming the first group of faithful devotees.
Well, Cameron, I'm glad that this isn't all call to the flame propaganda.
We knew this act was coming, Javier. We knew that it would come up eventually. There cannot be everlasting dark without some light at some point, right?
So these devotees gather around the keeper of the first flame, and it is sort of, yep. Sorry.
I was going to say, how long has Tyrell been gone by this point? Tyrell.
I mean, like probably like a 40 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
Max with a play, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, a fair amount of time.
Okay. I'm starting to get worried for him, but I'm not at the point of like running from the theater. But I'm considering burning the place down, just on principle.
So it's sort of implied that this woman becomes the keeper of the flame, and some of these first people here, they become devoted priests and knights that guard the flame. And it's sung in vague terms that they bear a great burden as they keep the flame guiding and guarding the people. And sort of that arc of story closes with the first flame being in a city environment, ostensibly probably Riathil, because this is where the keeper of the flame is and where the covenant is the strongest. And the last bit is by Delion, as he advertised to Tyrell. He has a bit of an oratory thing at the end, which it's like something of a spoken word. It's not singing as such. So he describes in very uplifting terms the unquenchable fire of hope, which cannot be drowned out for very long, even though it might seem so. The sun and the stars, he says, will always rise in the end and lift a wail of dread. And you note that it's very interesting because he's doing this more spoken word thing, but you can kind of hear the echoes of his previous singing of the first act. People have been remaining quite taken by the performance here, and you definitely feel the sort of elven influence that Delion has on people when he performs. So, and there's a bit of, as like Delion comes forth, proclaims this, like, you can't destroy hope because hope springs eternal, more or less. There's a bit of a scene that then starts from that, where Delion and some of these people who guard the first flame, because that scene froze in the background and he comes forth. There's now no music, but there's a choir that sounds like they're singing something close to what what Delion was singing earlier. The sort of like Elven, you don't know it because you don't speak Elvish, but this is sort of like Proto-Elven as well. So dark-clad figures try and creep in while he's doing his monologue, and they're trying to steal the first flame, and people form a ring around the first flame and the keeper of the flame. And Delion himself fends off one of these attackers in like a sword play scene. And at one point, this person who's assaulting Delion turns to the crowd and gives you a wink, Cameron, with the glowing reflective eyes, and continues to fence with Delion. And you hear the voice again. It says, I had to bring him in because of his heritage. Now, he's very gifted. Not only that, but he is, well, there are many powers that his people were gifted with, some of which they have entirely forgotten since then. But even if he knows nothing of the powers that he is the inheritor of, there's still a little bit of the spark there as well, which I have, I think, successfully fanned into a little bit of a flame, if you don't mind the pun. It's unintentional on my part. Quite funny, actually, now that I think about it. And then he continues fencing with Delion as he gives you the spiel. It couldn't have been anyone else, not that I could find on very short notice anyway. And what, 8 years? That is a very short time for his people. But I suppose better lucky than smart, wouldn't you say, Cameron? But I only needed him. His inheritance, not so much the singing itself, though that is nice. I do enjoy. He's very talented. But I just needed him to be here to give voice to the wolf song. That's all we needed.
That was important to you.
It's been a very, very long time. Everything's gone just right.
This was all by your design.
It's about to happen, Cameron. I hope you're ready. I'm very excited after all these years. And there's the fencing that sort of concludes with Delion victorious. And as he does his like swinging in, and this attacker, which is the one with the reflective eyes, like falls down in defeat. Delion's sword clangs off the mosaic piece, which gives a sort of, it sounds like someone hitting glass with a very hard object. It doesn't really sound like smacking a giant piece of stone. Mm-hmm. And outside Tyrell as well, you feel a little bit of an unease. Like it has never really left you after you now realize it has never really left you, this feeling of unease, since you heard the first act. And it's somehow more intense now, and you can hear the song in some distance that you heard in the first act. The song by Delion. It's not necessarily Delion singing it, but you can hear voices singing it somewhere in the distance. And Delion's sword clangs on the mosaic piece. It gives the broken glass sound, and he clearly it wasn't meant to happen. It was an accident, and he's sort of taken off guard, like, oh boy, did I hit too hard? Like, what's going on? And the figure that he was fighting sort of falls down, gets lost into the dark scenery, disappears. And up above, there's a soft glow as the hunter's moon is sort of not in an eye blink, but steadily in a very short period of time, sort of pulses more bright. And then there's
the actual moon.
Actual moon. The moonlight becomes more intense.
I grab like Glavier's like wrist, just like kind of. This is like, oh god, here we go. Something's about to go down.
And there's a crack, and you can't decide if it's like a massive piece of glass breaking or thunder. There's no thunder. Like, it's a clear sky, but the sound is either thunder or like a big wall of glass like cracking. And absurd as it is, you can see because the moon is a perfect orb in the sky. You can see the bottom of the orb. There's a crack in it, and somehow it's bleeding, and you can see droplets of crimson start forming on the image and drip. And Tyrell, you can see this as well outside, and you hear this crack too, and it comes from up high.
I like to think as Cameron reaches out and like grabs Glavier's arm, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's going down, Glavier. Like, I've already got like my axe in hand."
I think you might be right, lad.
Brace yourself.
Tyrell, any particular take on the situation?
So the actual moon.
The actual moon.
That's why I was clarifying, because I was like, this is not the theater, this is the actual moon.
The actual moon seems to have a crack in it that has some blood welling up in it.
Should I roll my apocalypse wise now, or should I roll?
I almost want to say this is the stars and the heavens answering my question earlier in a much more dramatic way. Because I feel the sudden urge to return home, but I just sort of continue to look up at the moon, sort of in mute horror.
Next to you, All-Star is just like silently whispering, "What the fuck?"
Do you know what? That's an appropriate reaction.
To be fair, Cameron, like the mind voice has pretty much all the way through been like, "Hey, by the way, this is some sort of magical ritual I'm doing. I've been organising it for a gajillion years. All is proceeding according to my design."
Yeah, but I don't have the. I haven't read all the books in the world, John.
Oh yeah, well, likewise, if I'd have heard the mind voice, I wouldn't know what the ritual is, but I'd be like, some ritual's going down.
So, Cameron, this is where it begins. The seal is broken. It actually broke. Well, we are in it now. It doesn't really matter what happens next. Cameron, this is something that has not been seen in ages. I hope you can appreciate how much you are going to witness, not only here, but also, I think you are heading or thinking of heading west. We've arranged a little surprise for you that way as well.
Didn't doubt it.
It's not as big of a spectacle as this is going to be. And the first drops, somehow, some way, there's blood dripping on the glass ceiling of the amphitheater. It says, "The welling of blood comes with the breaking of the seal, and now you can hear it in the distance. There's the howls first, then the padding of heavy foot, claws on the ice. It's like the old times.
I think it's about time we were going, Cameron.
And you can see the blood that hits the glass roof is becoming instantly frozen. So there's like the plop and then like instant ice.
I'm off expecting that glass roof to come down, and I want like Cameron and Glavin not to be here when it happens.
Not to be here.
Mm-hmm. Right, so Cameron, Glarvier, what's up?
Where the hell is Tyrell? I'm starting to move. I'm not taking my eyes off of the blood at the moment. I'm sort of getting up, independent of where my eyes are.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right, Glavia. You're right.
There's another crack, like broken glass, and the mosaic piece on the stage shatters. People, actors, performers being thrown about. And there's a gale wind of absolutely freezing wind of air that blasts through the whole amphitheater as you guys get up and like, oh, we're leaving.
Okay, at this because all the crowd's still like spellbound.
They're spellbound, but now they're getting blasted with shards of this mosaic. They're getting blasted with this freezing gale.
Okay, so like, luckily Terrell's not here to see this.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is like, I'm gonna get up. I'm literally like I'm in the like wooden chairs we sat on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna grab one of these wooden chairs and I'm gonna like heave it in the direction of the stage. I'm not aiming for anything.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is just to like catch people's attention as this chair goes up and presumably shatters. Then I'm gonna jump up onto the chair next to it, like full like axe out, and in like the loudest, most bellowy voice I can do, which obviously is quite loud for me because I'm normally loud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be like, the roof's coming down. Everyone get the fuck out of that building. No! And I'm basically just trying to like shock people out of this like weird reverie they're in. Because I don't, when the ceiling comes down, I don't want them all to be like showered with glass and killed and whatever.
What are we rolling for this?
I'm hoping intimidation. That's why I'm trying to like lead with like violence and like waving the axe around. Like,
Right, so yeah, and you're threatening them with death either way. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
Where the fuck's Tyrell when you need him?
so it's going to be a 3, an average.
Okay, I've dropped a my last persona into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think command's more for like military stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, command is for combat command.
Yeah. Is there any chance I can fork ugly truth into it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, there is some weird sorcery going down. You're all gonna die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so intimidation 1, fork in 1. I suppose you've got anything you can assist with, Cameron?
Dude, look at me.
In intimidation plus persuasion style.
Apocalypse-wise, you're like, in time.
Apocalypse-wise, if you you go for it, man.
If I can get extra dice for that, I'll take it.
Sure. Okay.
So Cameron is talking about the end of the days here.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt to intimidate someone when we've got someone like, it is the end times, the crimson moon rises and has fallen into
the
the
moon
sea.
is bleeding on us, not just figuratively, literally. Do I need to roll apocalypse-wise?
No,
forget.
You're just helping.
Yeah.
There you go. So you start this massive...
Oh, I'm also dropping a fate point into it, because I've got 2 6s, and I've got loads of fate points.
Yep. Let's see.
So, just because like, I really want to get them out of here.
Yeah. Cool, one more. So, yeah, you start this, like you shake them out of this reverie, the spell, as it were.
I'm hoping once I shake them out and there's some mad dwarf being, we've got to get out, everyone's going to get killed. Once they're out of it, their own natures will also stop telling them together. The F out.
You trigger the mass exodus out of this amphitheater, which is currently getting covered in frost from this cold air, and the stage itself is covered in like thick, hard to like very opaque sort of freezing mist air. And as everyone's leaving, the first sort of figure appears from the now unseen spot where the mosaic piece used to be, of what is none other than a giant wolf, you would call it, sort of 5 feet at the shoulder, steps off the stage, comes down into the audience, sort of taking stock of what's going on. It's followed by 2 more heading into different directions, and the sort of freezing gale has died down, but there's like gushes of it. And as you
I'm probably gonna like
leave,
I'm basically gonna be like, oh, Cameron, like get as many people out as you can. I'll try and like delay them as long as I can, because obviously I swore I'd like protect the members of the Fellowship, particularly as well. I swore I'd keep Cameron safe from the Covenant of the Flame, who've obviously done this. So I'm basically, but obviously I want to protect all the other people as well, because I'm all about humans and dwarves like coming together. So I'm just going to be like, Cameron, get as many people out as you can. I'll hold them back as long as I can. And I'm going to start like jogging towards them, like axe out, whatnot.
So the outside Terrell, you can tell the whatever is going on with the moon, it's not bleeding anymore. You're not sure if it was, but you're fairly sure it was, but it's not anymore.
As I jog towards the wolves as well, like very loudly in my loudest voice, I'm going to start sort of like, because we're in the opera singing something, I'm going to start like singing like an old like dwarven like battle hymn, like as loud as I can, which obviously, yeah, going into battle, it seems like the thing to do, but also I'm thinking Terrell outside might hear that, and because we've talked a lot about old songs of the dwarves and elves, and like even if he doesn't know all the words, he might be like, oh, I recognise that's a dwarven battle hymn, and that might be like, how many other dwarves are they going to be like loudly singing dwarven battle hymns in a fucking opera? So it might clue him into the fact that like shit's going down.
Yeah. So you're belting it out, and as you are, so you're heading towards like, oh, I'm gonna get this wolf. I think it's like a small shed, but out of the freezing mist covering the stage now, strides a very tall, probably elven. It has these sort of elven proportions to it. Armored in stark black metal, carrying a very long, lithe. You somehow associate the word cruel with it. Very long, wicked-looking blade.
It's nice that Tyrell has joined the party.
And there's a change now that goes through the whole venue here. The wolves turn around to look at this figure and sort of like put their heads down a bit, like prostrate a little bit. And there's a couple of people who were still spellbound, and they take a glance at this figure, and they're just sort of frozen in horror. And you can feel, Glarvir, this rolling aura of very deep fear, terror, hatred, just crashing against you, almost like a wall, like coming at you as you run forward. This figure stands. You can see any sort of features at all. It is entirely covered in this black, you think probably elven-made armor, black cloak, tattered, just torn to shreds, really. It seems to observe the venue, and behind it come steeds. There's horses, there's wolves being ridden by other sort of similar figures, except they're pale. You can see their faces drawn, sort of almost corpse-like.
And sorry, can I see where are they like emerging from the mosaic? Or?
Yeah, from where you think where the mosaic was. Now it's in like this white mist, the whole stage.
My sort of thoughts at the minute, sort of seeing that there's like now more stuff coming out and stuff more. My thoughts at the minute, which I'll be sort of aiming for, obviously it's not going to be this easy, but my thoughts are like try and get to the mosaic, maybe smash the mosaic. That might stop most stuff coming out.
You saw the mosaic shatter, so you know that is broken already.
I'm still thinking like there's got to be something where it was, because these things are appearing. So I don't know anything about mystical forces beyond like fate and whatever. So I'm just like get myself to the spot where the mosaic is. When I'm there, I can like reassess whatever's there that they're coming out of. Because half of me is like not really expecting to get to that spot, to be perfectly honest, given what's in my way. So, but that's like my main thought, right? Keep going towards that spot. Try and delay it so Cameron can get more people out before they get killed by wolves and evil badasses in armor.
So, Wheelmaster, would this be a good time for an appropriate dramatic entrance?
Yeah. And you would have felt things too if you are creeping close here. So when this first figure entered the scene, it's like you feel less somehow sapped and a little bit demoralized. And it's you can tell it's like something happened. Like it's not you feeling down about what you've seen. Something changed in the world, and you're just a little bit more diminished now. Something terrible has happened just now. As you enter.
So when I enter and I see these figures, do I recognize them?
I will say yes.
Because to me, they appear to be the Wild Hunt.
They are.
So,
and this is a story of your people.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that Deliano was channeling our lore and our legends and our history, but I thought he was doing it very badly until about 2 minutes ago. But
so you know who this individual is supposed to be, and given that you feel like a little bit more dead now because you can see this figure, you find it fairly credible. You have Elfwise, you know the sort of common legends, stories really of your people. So this would be one they call Riathil, the first to fall. It's the first elf, an ancient elf woman who, in the vast distance, in the far mists of time, before almost anything, at the dawn of the elves, before death existed, fell to darkness, and the myth calls Riathil the hunter, the fair, wolf friend, kinslayer. That's the darker part of the story. The bloody handed, the voice of hatred, and also the wolf song. These are all epithets given to Riathil in the legends. And you thought it was going to, it's a myth. It's here now, and this is the Wild Hunt that is appearing rapidly on the stage that you can see.
I'm gonna call out to Glarvier and Cameron, and in my most imperious voice, I'm going to tell them to run for their lives.
I like the fact
way ahead of you, bro.
He's coming and said that as I'm launching myself at them, like singing ancient dwarven battle anthems.
Yeah. So you can see Glarvir is in the middle of like holding a big wolf's jaws open with the axe. So the wolf is like, "I'm gonna eat you," and you're like, "Well, axe time, axe time." Okay.
Um,
I'm like, it'll take more than a mangy hand like you to take me down. I've seen bigger wolves than you.
Okay. Cameron's going. Well, everyone, let's leave. I will do that too. Let's go.
Well, as this whole situation was happening, I was trying to find my my doppelganger's eyes if they were still around.
No, it rolled off the stage when it was defeated by Deleon, and then Deleon in that fight accidentally hit the mosaic.
He was like, my magic ritual is complete.
so,
I'm gone.
so Glarvier clearly is not listening, as he never really does.
No, he's having his moment of glory, clearly.
Right.
And if the tales are to be believed, that is what this will be, and it's he's going to be prey to the hunt or join it.
This isn't something we can stop. This is something we can survive. At this stage, we need to get out of here.
Obviously, you know, Cameron, because I told you that literally, like, the reason I'm trying to make myself as obvious as possible to them, because I'm like, I'm buying you some time, get all the people out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know
I've not already gone in going, like, yeah, I'm going to level these guys, that'll be great. I'm like, oh, if I can slow them down a bit, more people can escape.
I'm going to call out in Elvish and in the oldest Elvish that I know how to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
piece of
going
nuts?
to
Sorry, man.
address, and I'm going to say, Riathil the Fair, call off your hound.
So the armored figure with the far too long reaping blade, turns on the stage at the sound of elven voice, and there's a forceful, very cold somehow, clearly supernatural voice that replies, "What will you give me in return? For this has been claimed already."
I will draw my sword and place it across both my hands
Mm-hmm.
and raise it towards her. And I will say in again in Elvish only, so that only she and the other elves can understand me. And I'll say that I will give you my sword.
There's a hand that rises up. Riathil raises a hand. The wolf sort of backs away and whimpers away from Glarvir. And Glarvir is just like, wait, no. I was punching you. Yeah, so the wolf recedes from the attack at the raised hand of Riathil.
At that, I'll approach and I will say in common to Glarvier, get out of here, you bloody fool. Aren't you supposed to be protecting Cameron anyway?
I'm gonna sort of like, in fairly sort of like low tones for like Glarvier, which is obviously like normal speak. I'll basically go, yes, I'm buying him some time to get all the people out.
Well, he's going. He's gone.
I'm trying. Okay.
Go hold your oath, Glarvier.
At which point I'm gonna sort of smile at him, and then I'm gonna sort of put a hand on his arm, and I'm gonna say, I have many oaths, and one is to protect the members of the Fellowship, and you are also a member of the Fellowship.
Yes, but the Fellowship has to survive. This is the way. So please go.
I'm just gonna shake my head. I break no oaths. I'm afraid
You're not breaking an
no
oath.
oaths.
I am no longer a part of your fellowship. Therefore, you are free of your oath.
That's not how fellowships work.
It is. My allegiances now go elsewhere.
So Riathil, or one of these writers, maybe, there's a sort of hollow chuckle that echoes weirdly in this space with the acoustics, of course, and they seem to have decided to move. No one's coming to collect your sword, it seems like, Terrell, but they are moving. The wolves are just bounding out, crashing through windows if they can get to windows, and these riders, there's like a couple of unfortunate souls who are still spellbound in the audience. The riders get off the stage on their wolves or their horses, start sort of leisurely pace, exiting presumably through the front doors. And as these spellbound fools are still in their chairs, they just casually like lop off heads as they go.
Oh no, that's not going down. So I think at this point I am going to leave Terrail, but it's less a case of, I'm abandoning my companions, more like there's like these innocent people here who are going to get like cut down for no other reason than like the spell isn't broken on them. So I'm going to like bound. I'm going to give a nod to Terrail, and I'm just going to say, make sure you come back. I still need someone to write that song, and then I'm going to bam towards these people with thoughts of trying to save these people.
Terrell. It seems the baleful gaze has shifted from you quite sort of quickly. It didn't seem like it's you've read and heard the stories and the songs. There is a degree of fickleness that you know that is associated with this.
Sure, of course.
And
So-
you know that there's going to be a lot of dead people now.
Yeah. So, since no one seems to be listening,
Mhm.
and no one seems to be taking any of this very seriously, I will. I'll sheath my sword then,
Mhm.
and I mean, if Glavier wants to go off and fight the wild hunt, that's up to him.
It's
So,
like I'm upholding good dwarven values. Just saying.
I'll spare a glance to Riathil one last time, and then I will run out after Cameron.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's where we'll leave it. Where Riathil stands still on the stage. The hunt coming up out from the white mist behind her, and Glarvier is charging one of these horse riders. It's like, no, you won't. And outside, Cameron, Terrell, what be thy plan? Ostor is there, motioning. It's like, on the cart.
Get to
On
the cart.
Yeah. I will turn to Cameron and say, unless you can summon the stars and the sky itself, we need to flee this city. Probably this continent, but at the very least, put as much distance between us and Riathil as possible.
I can't summon the stars, but I can summon a lot. I could slow them down. I could slow them down a lot. But the cost will be high.
If you can summon something that can send Riathil back to whence she came, then
I don't know. As far as I know, that was a legend, and I've never fought a legend before.
can you summon legend?
But apparently I've summoned something of that before by accident, so...
Can you summon something that has actually helped us for once?
I'm gonna do the whole pulling up the rope sleeve thing in the midst of chaos. Yeah. Well, you
Tell
missed
me,
quite
Terrell, do you have
you
any
missed quite a
chalk on you?
party. You missed quite a party tonight, Tyrell. It turns out that my doppelganger is my great-great-grandfather, as well as the king in the north. He mocked, he taunted, and he had planned this for some time. But and I do not know the ancient tongue of Elves, and I do not know much of Dol Siriath, but one of the phrases of Dol Siriath I did learn that was quoted tonight has a triple meaning, which is hope springs eternal. One of the, and I'm sort of striding for this, one of the meanings is, as great architects we were, it's one of rebirth. We rebuild, we reclaim, we make, we learn, we adapt. Another, it's a promise that we won't forget who we are, and the bloodline will pass down through the ages. And the third is a threat. We will not give in, and I am a Dark Watcher after all. And I'm going to prepare to summon something for the start of next session, because I'm guessing this is going to
Yeah, but we're going to cut it there with one last mind voice. So as you're going to summon something in Riathil.
I'm going to summon. I'm going to attempt to summon something in Riathil.
Just as long as we know where you were doing this. So you're going some distance to try and do a quick summon. So
it's going to be a Hail Mary, that's for sure. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
going to be
that's going to be great. So as you're starting your process here,
putting on the big boy pants,
your invocations, is Cameron, it is done now. Well, not completely. This is now 2 of them are back. Getting the 3rd one will be only a matter of time, and it might be that the 2 do it for me. Well, this was a great success. I'm glad you still live. We may get to see the end.
Let's see.
And that's it.
Quality. Thanks very much.
Yeah. So that was a lot of exposition. Thank you for sticking it out. We went quite long as well. Apologies for that. But yeah, that's it for 13.
Okay. Well, obviously we'll chat about Arthur and whatnot, but I will stop the stream here. Thank you very much again for running it.